Hey guys, welcome to the initial setup for my tower defense. This video series is really meant to serve as a diary or devlog of progress as I try a more fully fleshed out game rather than small projects. Each game has to start somewhere, and in this video I'm going over very basic setup. First things first, I need to move around the scene. Here I am setting up the camera. This game is going to be top down, so it needs to look down on the game space, move forward, left, right, and back, and finally it needs to zoom in and out. Simple enough, and it doesn't take too long for it to get going. Here you can see it working. Amazing. Next we need something to shoot at, which takes two different systems. First, I need to tell the enemy where to move, and second, I need to tell it how to move. For this tower defense, I want to create waypoints that the enemy will walk to, and when it reaches that destination, it will turn to face that direction before walking that way. This could be accomplished with a navigation mesh and some AI, but this should be simple and will always get me the result I need. As you can see, this works flawlessly first try. Wait, where's the turn? Try 2. Well, that is one way to turn to face its next path. Try 3. Closer, but it slows down as it gets closer to facing the right direction. After going back to the drawing board, try 4. Damn it, why did it snap? This was supposed to be simple, and now it's getting ridiculous. Finally, after a few rewrites, we get a nice, clean, and smooth movement system that follows waypoints. With this system, we can make any path we want for any type of tower defense map. Loops are easy, and it even knows the first and last waypoints are the spawn and end respectively. I spent a bit more time cleaning some temporary debug code I was using, and better managing the states the enemy can get into, so it will be a bit more robust in case anything goes wrong, and causing it to destroy itself when it reaches the end. With that, we move on to the next core component every tower defense needs: towers. Towers really consist of the tower, which contains their logic, and the projectile, which dictates how it shoots toward the target and what occurs when it hits the target. I need to keep track of how often I fire, who I can even fire at, and of course dealing damage and tracking that on enemies I hit. I do get distracted before working on this though, and end up with a rainbow dude as my enemy and a strange textured version of the mannequin as my tower. Anyways, back to the actual functionality. My first goal is to get my tower to recognize that an enemy has entered its range. After thinking on this for a bit, I figured simple was better. Towers have a range, which serves as the radius of a sphere collider. If the sphere collider overlaps with another collider, I can see if that is an enemy. I set up some debug strings to see if it's working, and nope, no text. You can see me try a few things here. It takes longer than I would have liked to remember that the enemy doesn't even have any collision set up. Once we set up a capsule collider onto the enemy, we can see that it now works as expected. If an enemy enters range, I know it has entered. When the enemy leaves range, I know it has left. Now I know something has entered our range, it is time to shoot. Let's make our base projectile. Unreal comes with some starter content, so I messed around with visuals before settling on a basic cube just for testing. This project is more about learning, so I try something I haven't used yet. Unreal comes with a projectile component that has a homing feature. Since I want tower shots to home onto its target, this seemed like a good choice. After some setup, it followed targets no problem. Great! It's a bit floaty, so I dive into the settings to see what I can change. Initial and max speed help, but I want the homing to really snap to enemies. Homing acceleration magnitude is really what I needed. Next up, we need to only shoot this projectile when an enemy gets in range. Since we know when and what actor gets in range, I plan to add and remove them to a tracked array. Storing all targets will let me sort through them in any order, such as closest, furthest, highest health, etc. If a tower has an actor in that array, it should fire. Some more hookups, and here we go. Huh. Well, at least it's shooting, but it isn't quite right. First, there should be homing, and second, there should not be 100 of them. Let's tackle these issues one at a time. After a few tests to make sure we have a target for the projectile, round 2. Excellent. Problem 1 solved, and problem 2 is at least now pretty. We need to track time since last attack and set an attack speed, and there we go, working as expected. The final thing to set up for this video is damage. I set the enemies with some health, and have the projectile remove health when they hit. It should take 3 shots to kill an enemy, and sure enough, that is working. We have pathing, enemies, towers, projectiles, and damage. Many of the basics have been knocked out, and I can start focusing on more specific systems for this tower defense. Next video I will go over more of the design of the tower defense as I continue adding on to the basics. See you then.